Okay, I'm Steve Oliver, and today we're interviewing Barry Harp for the story of his life. And this would take us a couple of days, but be patient. Barry, I've known you for a while, and I told you I was going to ask you this question to begin. What brought you to Peachtree Christian Church?
When you asked me earlier, I said I literally was born into Peachtree Christian Church. I was literally born into Peachtree Christian Church. My mom and dad were married here on December 24th, 1944. And I asked my mom, I said, well, why'd you get married on Christmas Eve? She said, well, he was getting ready to get shipped out. We had no choice. He was in the Navy at the time during World War II. So in 1946, probably January, that's when she was pregnant, and around September of 46 when I was born. Now, when I say I was literally born into Peachtree Christian, my mom and dad, with two other couples, started a partners class here at Peachtree. So it was May of 1946. So she was pregnant with me when they started the partners class. So that's how my church began. I was born here in Atlanta at Crawford Long Hospital. In about 2 years, I think when I was about 2 years old, we moved to Decatur. And I went to Decatur High School and grew up in Decatur, which is still a sweet little town. I go there every so often to visit it. And I went to high school there, graduated from there. Went to college. Didn't do too well in school. I was near close to flunking out at college, so I decided, well, this is the Vietnam era. So I had two choices, either get drafted or go into the Air Force. I went in the Air Force, took the latter of the two. I served from 67 to 71 in the Air Force and security police. And I am a Vietnam veteran, although I did not serve in Vietnam, but I did serve in Thailand. And the base I was on, I was not there when it happened, did get hit by the Viet Cong. They hit our radar site, and we had a few of my good friends were killed. But I was not there at the time. So when I got out of the service, and I went through a divorce, so I've had through some rough times. And then in 1979, I hadn't been married for years, so that's when I met my wife, my current wife, Linda, who we've been married for 43 and a half years. That's when my faith, I've always had faith in Jesus Christ and during that time, and I've always believed in Jesus Christ. But I sometimes, with the divorces I went through and the problems, there was not a third party involved, we just weren't compatible. But during that time, we did have two children with my ex-wife, my son and a daughter. And in fact, to give you a little bit, I don't know if y'all have heard of Clint Harp. Some of you have, some of you may not. He has a television show. He worked with Chip and Joanna Gaines that live in Waco, Texas, and he worked with them, and now he has his own TV show, Restoration Road, which airs in October this year, a full series. And Linda and I, and she has a daughter named Rebecca. And during this time, because of Linda, it helped my relationship grow. She was a Christian and I was a Christian. And she came to Peachtree with me. Now, for a while, we did leave Peachtree Christian Church for a little while. Then I came back in the 80s. And from then on, I have been a member since then. But even though I did leave it for a while, Peachtree Christian Church has always been in my heart, and it never left. I may have left Peachtree Christian Church, but Peachtree Christian Church never left me. And I have formed a tremendous bond with the people. With the exception of Dr. Bricker, I've known all the senior pastors here at Peachtree Christian Church, Dr. Burns and to the present pastor, Dr. Longbonds, and the pastors in between. Now, my story's I haven't told you a lot. I don't have an exciting story, but that is kind of everything in a nutshell about my life briefly. And my faith, it was my parents that really is what has instilled my faith. To get a little humor into it, every Sunday morning my dad said, if we don't leave now, we're 5 minutes late, we won't make it in time. And but he made sure that we made the Peachtree Christian Church. And I'm glad he did. You know, when I think about it, I'm glad that he instilled that with me, because without that, I wouldn't have the faith. And like I said, along the way, I've had some problems, conflicts, marital conflicts, things like that. But these things have kind of worked together, and Jesus works in mysterious ways. And he brings people together, and that's what he has done for me during this time with Linda and myself. And in the last 4 years, unfortunately, Linda, and I'm not going through the whole story, she had to have a knee replacement, and she had a brace, and she had put in her leg years before that to help keep her knee together. But when the doctor went to take that out, it took him hours. He took that out, and he put the knee replacement in there. Well, he had a difficult time doing it, and when he did it, she had a hard time recuperating from this knee surgery. In fact, she almost fell in the hospital, and I was right there to help her pick her up, and she popped a tendon. And which is right now keeping her from walking was one reason she's in a wheelchair, and the other reason she went to rehab, and the people made her walk when they shouldn't have, and the next morning she said, I feel a pain in my heel, and she had a blister, a 4-inch blister. And since then, the doctors, they've done everything they can, and she's healing now. But she's still having some problems with it, and hopefully within a year, next year sometime, we get a brace where she can walk some. But the doctor said, until you get that healed, you're not going to be able to, right now you're going to have to stay in a wheelchair until you get that fully healed. And of course the tendon broke, she can't really do much walking. And that right there, when you talk about has had to put my faith, really it's strength. Because if you're a caregiver, let me tell you something, it's not easy. It's not that we're completely confined, we can get out and do things, but it's tough on a person. Your life is like sometimes 24 hours centered around it, which, don't get me wrong, I love my wife deeply, but sometimes you want to have that time to yourself. But you really have to have that faith and strength to be one. And that is really what has really helped me over the years.
Barry, you said something to me when we were talking a few days ago, and it's a phrase that I wanted to share with everybody. Barry said, you take what God gives you. And I think that is a pretty good summary of a lot of stories in this room. Now, before we conclude, and I'm sorry if I dominated the conversation too much today, Barry, but you know how I am. I want you to tell everybody what your daddy always said at the end of every board meeting.
He always said there's always something happening good at Peachtree. Mm-hmm. Always was. That's
He
all
always said it. The meeting wasn't over until he said that. And I want to reiterate it. And Barry, you've bared your soul a little bit today, and we appreciate that. And I hope all of us can take strength from Barry's strength, and he just keeps on keeping on. Thanks, Barry.
You're welcome.
And thank all of you for welcoming Barry today.
Thank you.
Thank you.